Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. July 4th. Does it have any meaning anymore? Do these holidays mean anything to the majority of people anymore? Or are they just holidays? Little reminder of what it was back in uh, July 2nd, 1776. What's his name here? Richard Henry Lee, who was Light Horse Harry Lee of Revolutionary fame, also the great grandfather of Robert E. Lee, who fought to dismantle the country. Ironic, isn't it? Fate steps in many times. It is not something we can understand or interpret, but we can only do what we think it is right. Just like Henry Lee wanted the Declaration of Independence, or he proposed independence, and then the Declaration was written, but primarily by Thomas Jefferson, and voted on and sanctioned on July 4th, 1776. And there was debates about what Jefferson had written. One of the things that he had taken out was a strong wording about the importation of slavery, of slaves into the United States. Jefferson had included that, but powers that be didn't want that. Independence and slavery. You can imagine what was going on in debates at that time. The human spirit is just filled with contradiction. So let's not focus on that today in today's political world. There is contradiction. There will always be contradiction. But the spirit of 1776, the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, freedom from tyranny, freedom to do as a country wants. But again, you have to look at these things in the right perspective. This is freedom, but people had to fight for that freedom. At that time, not everybody had the vote. Nobody, it was being created, but white Anglo-Saxon men educated with land had the vote. Your everyday hunter, herdsman, certainly no women, no Indians, no blacks, didn't have the vote. But you had to fit certain criteria to be allowed that level of involvement in this new idea of democracy, which was a federalistic concept, because it wasn't true democracy as it was in Athens, where the men got out in the marketplace and say, yay, raised their hand, and the majority won. But, and I guess if people yelled loud enough or paid enough hands to be in there, anything can happen. But it was the beginning of this freedom, this beginning of this idea that we have a voice in how we're treated. Let us not walk away from that in today's 4th of July ceremonies. Think about the past. Think about what people did to support the past. You don't have to find people of, pure souls back then to say that they were working to something good. Just as we don't have people of pure souls today working for something good. But you can see where the things are that are working against the good, that are the antithesis of what these people had done back in July 4th, 1776, to what it is today, and the threats to this Constitution, the threats to this America that we live in, is plain and simple and right there in the forefront. No masking it, no hiding it. They want to destroy much, if not all, of what America was. They talk so proudly of being associated in mind, spirit with the founding fathers, and yet they are so far from it. You cannot believe what people say. You have to look at the heart, test your soul, test your understanding of how you can be empathetic, use your empathic power to sense, if not articulate, the logical premises in which we strive to utilize to govern ourselves. Because they are based on logic. Everything is based on our logical approach. It can be an emotional response, but it's logic that prevails. Do we need the streets paved? Do we need a watering system? Do we need this or do we need that? It's a logical, practical purpose. Do we need freedom? It's not emotional. The emotion can drive it. And we can't forget about the emotions back in the time. These people who were writing this independent Declaration of Independence, they were under threat. They were breaking the law. The law was Britain, not the United States. We have to look at what they were doing. They were smugglers. They were lawbreakers. And I guess in some perverse way, there's some kind of an association with this MAGA movement and the fact that Trump is a lawbreaker. Wow. But look at the laws they broke. Look at why they broke the laws. They were not there. And, I have to say also in truth, many of the people that were smugglers were making money on this gig. They're not fully altruistic people. They were people who are out for a certain, self-motivation, self-serving, self-aggrandizement. There's so many, if you go back and look at the history, these people had egos as big as a house and maybe bigger, So, but look at what their cause was. Look at the underlying goodness of it all. It was going to a purpose. Was it perfect on the first draft that Jefferson wrote? No. There is debate about it. Was it perfect after that? No. Nothing men do is perfect. Nothing men do is perfect. We strive for that. Let us continue to strive to work to the good on this July 4th, 2024, where there is threat to the United States Constitution, to our way of life, and, elevating one man. I can't help myself, especially that type of man. A man who's nowhere in anywhere, shape, or form fit to be a leader. Can't even run his own businesses, runs them into the ground, cheats and steals to get by. That's what he did. The Roy Cohen mentality. Just do what you can, push through. Nobody's going to bust you because you're a rich guy. You started off with 250 million, and people don't walk. Money talks. The world is run by money and power, but we, the people, have power in our numbers, in our purpose. And if we have purpose to good, whatever that is defined by you, but I know in the majority, the definition of good is not far from one another. We are in sync with value, in sync with what is inherently beneficial to all of us, to us, ourselves, our own satisfaction, our neighbors, our children, our grandchildren. This nonsense talk about no problem with climate change, don't give a hoot, don't think about what you can do to minimize the impacts of all this. They're not thinking about their children. They're not thinking about the possibilities that when these glaciers go in the water, the fresh water will diminish the salt and it will change the whole current structure. They're not thinking about that at all. And so what? It changes the current. Big deal. Big deal is because it runs the whole weather patterns. And, do they know what's going to happen? No. Do they care? Not until their house blows down. Then they care. Then they'll whine and scream and blame somebody else for their own stupidity. Just like these people that take credit for all the benefits they get from the infrastructure laws that were passed. And now they claim all the perks for themselves when they voted against it. They're not honest people. They're not honest brokers. Are most politicians honest? I can't say. I don't think so. I think they all have to schmooze their philosophies and their thinking one way or another. But going to the good, to the positive value for what is good for society is all it's about. And that's what Thomas Jefferson did back in 1776. That's what Henry Lee wanted, pushed for as a Revolutionary War hero. Independence. Be free of the tyrant. But that's not so easy. Now today they want to be free of what? The Constitution and put in a tyrant. Strange world. Let us not do that. Let us go to the good. We know what the good is. It's benefit to all. It's inclusion. It's helping. You may not agree with the policy one way or the other. And there are many things I don't agree with in policy from government. But that doesn't mean that you can't support people that are striving to do better. And we have to educate, and there's where these leaders come in. The vacuum of leadership for the moral good is there. Oh yeah, just do what you want because, we told you, this sin is, don't steal. Well, what's stealing? What's killing? What's this? What's that? Anyway, that's not the purpose of this clip. This clip is to say, go to the good. July 4th, 2024, there's room for hope. And we have to keep hope alive. It's a need, it's a demand for our future. Do not avoid it, think about it, talk about it, participate in your heart and in your mind. It doesn't matter if you talk to a neighbor. It's important we talk, but it's not fully the extent of how our involvement is. It's through our consciousness, it's through our actions, it's through how we interact with people. You don't have to push a political agenda or whatever, but you have to vote, utilize the vote, utilize your heart, and if you can participate directly, do so. Why not? Do so. Thanks for listening. Have a good 4th of July. Think about what it was. Think about what we can lose today, what they've put with such high hopes in yesteryear. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, hit the like button, comment, put your comments down. They're always appreciated from everybody who reads them, and they do get read. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye for now.